Yes guys, welcome from me, Championship Manager 0102, still going strong. So you can see the title down there, it's all about exploiting the game, or exploitation, whatever you want to call it. Don't get confused here between what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to emphasise, and the word cheating. I will also point out, this is just my view and an opinion. And if someone don't agree with it, well, tough shit. But this is about, everyone does play the game, however they wish. This is just purely an opinion and my view on various aspects of the game. Like when we all used to play football management games back in the days of the Amstrad and the Commodore. Our objective was to try and crack it, to complete it. And you would look for flaws in the game. Well, Championship Manager is no different. There are flaws in the game, as I've pointed out on numerous of videos, various flaws. But in respect of, I think with modern times, like, I'm going to swear here, but when you have the game Football Manager, people, look to emulate something as close to real life as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit on some certain stuff that, in my opinion, is all about exploitation. So we'll just start a game. I've loaded it. I've started a brand new game, and I've just done it as a minimal database. So there are various points of how to exploit the game. Now, like I said, some of which I'll run over, some of which I might have already covered on a specific video. So the first thing. Now this predominantly is ODB, what I'm about to say. This is actually an update that I've loaded up. You can see by the year. Now, have you ever gone for a player, right? Have you ever gone for a player and he's not interested in you? So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take Foden, hypothetically. He won't be interested in me, Foden. No, you see, look, Richarlison's the highest value player interested in me. So you can go for Phil Foden. Let's say I bid 60 million, or let's say 100 million. Man City accept the offer, but Foden's not interested, so he's not interested in negotiating terms. However, particularly on the ODB, you can still offer him a contract. You can still offer him a contract, even though he's not interested in negotiating terms. Now, the trick is, right, this is the trick. This is just one of many ways of getting a player. We'll just do that for a minute, just to make sure we get him. And we'll do it with Tom Bradbury as well. We'll do that with him as well. We'll just quickly flick through 2 purchases, and there you go. So here we go. So let's hypothetically say Mark Smith wasn't interested in me, hypothetically, okay? So all you do, and this is, like I say, this is predominantly on the ODB. They tend to have rectified this on the updates, but then ODB, there's probably more than 50% of the population of CM players that do still play the ODB, and this is the way you would beat it. No matter what wage you can offer the highest wage you can offer, even though he's not interested, and offer him a month-to-month contract. Now, this is exploiting the game. If you're going to do from a realism perspective, he will agree terms. There are videos out there from other people, and there you see that's gone through straight away. He's accepted a part-time, week-to-week contract. Now, let's just quickly do the same thing for Tom Bradbury. Do exactly the same thing. Let's offer him a month-to-month contract as well. Okay, so Smith has signed for me, and this is how you get, particularly on the ODB with the Swedes, if you're a little team. You start as a little team, you go for Kennedy Bakircioglu, he's not interested in you, you offer him the minimum release clause, which he normally picks up. You can then offer him a contract of like 7-8 grand, but on a rolling contract. He agrees terms, he ends up like this, and then once you've got him, obviously, there is a danger that somebody else could bid for him because he's actually available on free. But like normal, when you first buy a player, he's not interested in joining anybody else. So you've got like a little bit of window time. So at this point, offer him a new deal and make sure you give him a contract. Okay? The board fee is important. Remember, that's because I've spent so much money on that prick, £50 million. And they celebrate it because I spent so much money. So we've offered Bradbury a contract as well, so we'll do the same thing. And there you go, Bradbury's agreed a £5 million move. So that is one of many. So there you go, he's on a rolling contract. That is one of many flaws in the game. And that's how some people, so it really bugs me, right, when I see someone saying that they've managed to pick up Mark Kerr in their Rushden and Diamonds game. Mark Kerr chose Rushden ahead of Arsenal, and then you realise afterwards they probably got him. They probably got him on a month-to-month contract, because as a player he'd rather take a month-to-month because he knows it's a less contract, so he can get another signing-on fee. Now that is another thing. Bearing in mind, doing it like this, giving him a new contract, you are giving him a signing-on fee twice, and from the player perspective, that appeals to him more than a long contract. So, but you've got no way of being able to prove or disprove that that's how you did buy someone, or that's how you prove that someone bought someone. You know, that is how it is. Okay, so that's one of many. Okay, now the next one, I have covered a lot of this. Now let's talk tactics. And I'm going to keep emphasising this is all about the exploiting of the game. So exploiting the match engine. Now people say it's all about realism, or it's all about I'm just doing what they do in real life. Now originally 4-4-2. Now let me tell you this, right? This is a fact, a proven fact. Any tactic without wingers, so let's just move these fuckers over here. Any tactic without wingers, as you can see, no one at left back, no one at wing back, no one at left midfield, no one at attacking midfield, no one on the left or up top or the right, it will exploit the match engine. You'll probably hammer anybody with that sort of setup, a centralised formation as it's called. So that's one way of beating the system. And I think the very first formation I used to use on the old CM, which was back on the Amiga 93, was something like 3-3-1-3, something like that. Of course, back then I was a lot younger. I'd have only been like 13 when CM 93 came out. Another way of exploiting the game is having less than 3 in your back line. So let's do that. So if you were to have something like that, you will hammer them. You will exploit the match engine. Now, a very common formation that I'm seeing a lot at the minute is this formation. And people saying, oh no, this is realistic because Liverpool play this, or some shit like that. This is what I'm seeing a lot. Something like that, and how Robertson goes on the left and Trent Arnold. Now that, yes, that might be close to Liverpool play, but that will exploit the match engine because you've only got 2 on the back line. No matter how much you say, oh, but that's real life, I don't give a shit, it exploits match engine, simple as that. I read mid-season, last season, Leeds had a formation of something like, I'm sure it was something like that, and somebody said, see, so Leeds are cheating, but this goes back to what I'm saying, you know, yes, Leeds did have that formation, I'm not disputing that, but from a game perspective, which is over 20 years old, it exploits the match engine. And of course, the last one, which clearly does exploit the match engine, is with Bob. Now, for those of you that do know or do not know what with Bob is, with ball, without ball, with Bob for short, and all it is in various selections of the field, you move your players around. So let's pretend the ball, whilst we've got the ball is where this box is, and you can see now these defenders that I've just moved. Can you see the thickness of the circle? They've all gone real ultra thick. That's how you tell that a formation is whip-wobbed. So I'm not that good at whip-wobbing, to be honest with you. Yes, whip-wobbing is part of the game, but it exploits the match engine. So if I just go to the overview now, we've still got that same setup, but it's whip-wobbed. You can tell it's whip-wobbed. And there are ways, and you can whip-wob that square, that square, that square, that square. You can even reflect, so which will reflect it onto the right side, and so on and so on and so on. Okay. And then you can do it on the without ball as well, and whip-wob it there. But the bottom line is, you can always tell when a player is whip-wob by the circle. I'm going to right-click the centre mid here, and you'll see the thickness of the circle disappear. Bang, it's gone. If we go to whip-ball, there you go, the midfielder's back up there. Now, if you really want the ultimate bollocks cheat, right, let's just whip-wob that midfielder again. So if you want the ultimate whip-wob cheat, in fact, let's just do that. So, where's that DMC gone to? Where's that DMC? Right. So the ultimate whip-wob cheat is 2 at the back, no wingers, and whip-wobbed, and you will hammer people. There's no doubt about it. I don't care what you say. And I want to reiterate about my opinion and shit. Two at the back will exploit the game. No wingers will exploit the game. Whip-Bob will exploit the game. Now, if you really want to say, but it's part of the game and blah, 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 that's okay. So I'll tell you what, before you say, well, how great you've done and how you've won the FA Cup with Woking in the conference, right, have the AI, which is your computer, have them set up. So these default tactics are also, when you first install CM, you can... these are the AI tactics, the available tactics, and the preset tactics, like this. So if you really want to play it fair, then have these. You can alter these. There is a way to alter these. It's all available on the CMO102.net website. Have these changed that they too will have access to centralised formations, two at the back, Whip-Bob. Because believe me when I say this, right, there is... I mean, the Whip-Bob tactics alone for AI, they are fucking immense. You know, things like iodine, right, won't come nowhere near the iodine tactic, the looper tactic, the MJM tactic, which are all well-known Whip-Bob tactics. They won't do much at all against AI playing Whip-Bob. So, you know, level playing field. And if that weren't enough for somebody to manipulate the game, there is still another one. And this really, really fucking bugs me. And the reason this bugs me is because you can't prove if someone has done this, and therefore you can't disprove. The only way I can witness someone doing this is if I'm playing somebody in a online game or you know, same console game, and I'm playing them and I look at my tactics halfway through and I can catch them at it. But that's the only way you can do it. Same with Whip-Bob. It's the only way you can catch someone doing Whip-Bob is if you're watching their game, and that is right. Let's just right. So we would have one up top, let's say. Okay, and all you do, you right click, you man mark, and you man mark their goalkeeper. So our next game is against Burnley. As you can see, it's away to Burnley, and the instructions for my striker is to man mark the goalkeeper. So your striker, so when people say, right, on my ODB, Maximus Sigalko scored me 200 goals in a league season, the chances are, and I'll be really clear here, the chances are they had at least one, if not all, of what I've just said there, and that is no wingers, Whip-Bob, less than 3 at the back, and the striker man marking the goalkeeper. But like I said, you can't prove that unless you're playing them. So if I'm playing Burnley and the AI are man marking my goalie, I will see that. If I'm playing, so you can tell the AI would never do it. They've not got it in their head to do it. So that is another way to manipulate the game. Okay, so now let me show you, going back to transfers. Now let's have a look at transfers on the bigger scale. Okay, so Richarlison is interested in me. Now again, this is very ODB. With the more latter versions like this update, they tend to have put a little bit of a block on them slightly. Still not perfect. So I want to buy Richarlison. I've not got the money. Well, you've got to have, right, let me just put out, you've got to have the money available in your funds for this to work. But you'll understand what I mean. Obviously, we've just tossed off 50 million. And that is, I'm going to offer... I'm going to offer 5 million for Richarlison and 50 million after 50 league appearances. And then effectively, I sell him before it reaches that. That's the one way. Same with the internationals. And of course, when you're selling a player... let's see if we can get an offer for somebody. There we go. So when you're selling a player... a lot of people tend to do this, right? They tend to put it as to 1 million and, I don't know, 1 league appearance. Now, bearing in mind that league appearance needs to be a team in a playable league and something like that. Let's just do that. Now, this, like I say, on the ODB will work a treat. So, I want 100 grand for Lino and 50 million after 1 league game and 1. Now, we'll test it to see if they'll come back with that. Right, okay. Let's just to speed things up. I mean, I'm pretty certain on the updates that they've almost rectified that. I think there's still a few flaws. you know, a lot of people have said, oh yeah, I sold a player with the one cap trick, and it is a trick. You know, so I'm glad, in all fairness, I'm glad they gave up. So I'm glad they used the word trick, because it is a trick, it is manipulating. There's no other ways of putting it. I don't, you know, people can say what they want, and they can slag me off for my opinion. I really couldn't give a flying fuck, but that is a fact, you know, and especially in the ODB, the one trick pony. You could argue the work permit, one of my previous videos, how to beat the work permit, is a trick, and it is a trick. You could say it's manipulating the work permit, and you know, I ain't gonna contradict myself now. It is. The only thing I would say is, as I said in this video, in reality, the work permit is beaten. Almost, you know, just like the FFP, and I said that in my previous video, the financial fair play is beaten. Man City certainly went around that, but these are more in-depth tricks of how to beat the game. In my opinion, and again, I want to keep pointing it out, cheating is a different sort of philosophy. Cheating is, right, I saved my game before I played Burnley, and I lost. So I fucking crossed it out and I've reloaded it. Now that is your proper cheating. You know, I had a man sent off after 1 minute, and I'm sure we've all done that, right? Where your goalie gets sent off after like 2 minutes for furiously eyeballing the referee or some shit like that. And you think, fuck that, and you cross it out. Personally, what I tend to do, when I do go through those moments, and I do have those spastic moments, and it's just rage quit, and I just fuck off the save, and I just start a new game. I will personally, you're just going to have to take my word for this, but I will never do a reload, because that is defying cheating, in my opinion. People say you just bought Sigalco, it's cheating. It's not cheating, in my opinion. It's just go-to players. I mean, if you were to not go and purchase any players that you would normally purchase, well then you wouldn't be able to have multiple saves, would you? So yes, I don't actually. Sigalco, I'm on the fence with Sigalco. I don't buy Tomadera. Every other player is within, this is ODB I'm talking, every other player you're allowed to purchase in my own little preset rules. Sigalco a little bit on the fence, but he is a real player, Tomadera is not. You know, I would purchase Arcadius back, I would purchase Mark Kerr, you know, I would purchase Mike Duff, and so on and so on and so on. So there are many other ways of exploiting the game. You know, that's a fact. I'm not, you know, I could be here for fucking ages. But feel free to jot them down and add to anything that I've missed or anything that you think would be worth pointing out. Feel free to disagree with anything I've said, but you know what? Hey ho. And if you've got any videos you want doing on CM0102, give me a shout and I will try and do it for you. So until next time, guys, take it easy.